What if I told you that the most damaging thing you might be doing for your muscles is sleeping? I know that sounds absurd. We're told that sleep is for recovery, for healing. But for millions of people over 60, those 8 hours in bed have become a silent thief. A period where your hard-earned strength quietly slips away, night after night. You can be doing everything else right. The morning walks, the healthy meals, the doctor's checkups. But you're still fighting a battle in the dark that you don't even know is happening.
Doctor, that's a truly shocking statement, and I want to properly introduce our expert for those who may be new to the channel. Everyone, this is the brilliant Dr. Morgan, a leading specialist in geriatric medicine and the science of musculoskeletal aging. He's dedicated his career to helping seniors build strength and vitality. Doctor, we are so honored to have you here to share these insights.
It's my pleasure, Sarah. These are conversations we need to be having.
Well, on that note, welcome everyone to Health Voices. And today, with Dr. Morgan's guidance, we are going to challenge one of the most fundamental beliefs about our health. Doctor, you've thrown down the gauntlet. You have to explain what you mean. This sounds like a hidden trap so many of us could be falling into without any idea.
It is a trap, Sarah, a biological one. And it's a story I see play out constantly in my practice. Let me give you a perfect example. A patient of mine, we'll call him Walter. Walter is 72, a brilliant man, a retired engineer who lives his life with logic and precision. He came to me utterly frustrated. He said, "Doctor, I'm following the rules. I walk 2 miles every morning. I eat my eggs for breakfast, chicken for dinner. I do my resistance bands. But every single year, getting out of my favorite armchair gets a little harder. Carrying the groceries from the car feels heavier." He was doing all the work, but he was losing ground.
And this is exactly the fear that so many of our viewers write to us about. The feeling of helplessness when you're putting in the effort, but not seeing the results, or worse, going backward. So for Walter, what was this thief in the night?
The thief was his own body's survival mechanism. Between his dinner at 7 p.m. and his breakfast at 8 a.m., Walter was going 13 hours without food. That's a long fasting period. During that time, his body still needs energy and amino acids to fuel critical functions, keeping his heart beating, his brain working, everything. When there's no fuel coming from the outside, the body turns inward. It looks for the most accessible reserve of amino acids it can find, and that reserve is your muscle tissue. In scientific terms, his body was entering a prolonged catabolic state, a state of breakdown. It was systematically dismantling his muscles, piece by piece, to survive the night.
That is a horrifying thought, that our bodies are essentially eating our own muscles while we sleep. It means all the good work he did during the day was being sabotaged while he was resting.
Sabotaged is the perfect word. And this is where much of the common health advice, while well-intentioned, is incomplete. Walter's eggs for breakfast are wonderful. Egg protein is high quality and absorbed quickly by the body. But that's the key. It's fast. Think of it like this, Sarah. Fast protein from eggs is like giving a thirsty plant a big splash of water. It's fantastic for a quick dose of hydration, and it's perfect right after a workout when your muscles are desperate for rapid repair. But what about the long, slow 8-hour journey of the night? You don't need a splash. You need a different strategy entirely.
You need a system that provides that nourishment slowly and steadily throughout the entire night. So, what is the muscular equivalent of a slow drip irrigation system that keeps the plant watered all night long?
Now you're thinking like a biologist, Sarah. And that slow drip system is delivered by a different type of protein, a slow digesting protein called casein. And one of the best, most affordable, and scientifically proven sources of casein is a food that has been sitting in the dairy aisle for decades: cottage cheese. A single half cup of low-fat cottage cheese contains around 14 grams of protein, which is more than 2 large eggs. But the crucial difference is that about 80% of that protein is casein. Because casein forms a gel-like substance in the stomach, it digests incredibly slowly, releasing a steady trickle of amino acids into your bloodstream for up to 7 or 8 hours. It builds a protective fortress around your muscles, feeding them all night long and flipping your body from a breakdown state into a building state while you sleep.
That is a game changer. It's not just about the amount of protein, but about the speed of its delivery and matching the right speed to the right time of day.
Precisely. The science on this is incredibly clear. A key study published in the journal Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise found that participants who consumed casein protein right before bed showed dramatically increased overnight muscle protein synthesis, the technical term for muscle building, compared to those who didn't. More recent research, including a 2019 review in the journal Nutrients, has confirmed this, labeling pre-sleep protein as one of the most impactful nutritional strategies for older adults looking to preserve and build muscle mass and strength.
So, the answer for Walter, and for millions of people watching, wasn't some expensive supplement or an impossible workout routine. It was a simple, affordable bowl of cottage cheese before bed.
It was the cornerstone of his new protocol, and it made a world of difference. So here is the first powerful tool for everyone watching. We call it the pre-sleep muscle protocol. It is this simple. 30 to 60 minutes before you turn in for the night, have a half cup to a full cup of low-fat cottage cheese. This provides 14 to 28 grams of that slow-release casein protein. If you want to enhance it, add a sprinkle of cinnamon to help with blood sugar, or a small handful of walnuts for healthy fats and texture. The goal is to make this a consistent ritual. This single habit transforms your sleep from a time of potential muscle loss into an active period of repair and rebuilding.
That is an incredibly empowering action step. It feels like we're plugging a leak that we never knew we had. For everyone watching, this is a great moment for us to connect. If this issue of feeling weaker despite your best efforts is something you or a person you care about has experienced, please let us know by typing a 1 in the comments below. It helps our community know they are not alone. And while you're there, please take a moment to subscribe to Health Voices and turn on notifications. It costs you nothing, and it ensures you will always have access to this vital, life-changing health information. Doctor, that first part was truly a revelation. The idea of using a specific food like cottage cheese to create a protective shield for our muscles overnight is so practical. But it brings me to the next logical question. Now that we've stopped the nightly breakdown, how do we go on the offensive? How do we actively tell our muscles not just to survive, but to grow stronger during the day? Is there a command we can give our bodies?
That is the perfect question, Sarah. And the answer is yes. There is a command. Inside every single one of your muscle cells, there is a master switch. Think of it like the main power switch for a factory. This switch is called EMTOR. When MTOR is turned on, the factory, your muscle, roars to life. The assembly lines start moving, and it begins the process of repairing and building new, stronger muscle tissue. When the switch is off, the factory is dark and silent. Nothing gets built.
A master switch for muscle growth. I love that analogy. So, what turns it on? If we're eating protein, isn't that enough to power the factory?
This is the crucial piece of information that so many people are missing. Protein in general is the electricity that powers the factory, that's true. But it can't turn the main switch on by itself. To flip that mTOR switch, you need a specific key. That key is a special amino acid called leucine. Leucine is the signal. It's the hand that reaches out and physically flips the mTOR switch to on. Without a sufficient amount of leucine in a meal, you can eat a lot of protein, but the factory will never get the command to start building. It's like having a warehouse full of bricks and mortar, but no foreman to tell the crew to start working.
So it's not just about eating protein. It's about eating protein that is rich in this specific key leucine. How much leucine do we need to flip that switch?
That's the million-dollar question. The science is remarkably consistent on this. To reliably activate mTOR, most adults, especially those over 60, need to consume about 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine in a single meal. This is what we call the leucine threshold. If you're below that threshold, the signal is too weak. You don't flip the switch. This is why simply grazing on small amounts of protein throughout the day is often ineffective for building muscle. You need focused, leucine-rich meals.
Okay, 2.5 to 3 grams. Can you give us some real-world food examples? How does that translate to our plates?
Absolutely. And you'll be pleased to know our bedtime hero, cottage cheese, is also a daytime champion. 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese contains about 2.6 grams of leucine, right in that sweet spot. But there are other excellent sources. A 5-ounce chicken breast, a 5-ounce serving of salmon, or about 2.5 scoops of most whey protein powders will also get you over that threshold. The goal is to structure your main meals, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, around one of these high leucine protein sources. Research, like a 2011 trial in clinical nutrition, showed that older adults who supplemented with leucine saw improvements in muscle mass and strength, even without changing their exercise routine. That's how powerful this signal is.
This is a whole new way of thinking about food. It's a 2-part strategy, using slow protein at night to protect our muscles, and then using leucine-rich meals during the day to actively command them to grow.
You've summarized it perfectly. And Sarah, speaking of our audience, I'd just love to take a moment to connect with them. If you are still watching with us right now and finding this information valuable, could you do me a favor? Please type a 1 in the comments. And if you feel comfortable, type the city, state, or country you're watching from. It's incredibly motivating for Sarah and me to see how far our Health Voices community reaches. It truly means the world to us.
Thank you, Doctor. And thank you to everyone participating. Now, Doctor, you've talked about physical strength. But in our previous conversations, you've often said something that has always stuck with me. Muscle is medicine for the brain. That sounds so profound. Can you unpack that connection for us?
I'd be happy to. It's perhaps the most exciting frontier in aging research. For decades, we thought of muscle as just the machinery that moves our skeleton. We were wrong. Your muscles are a sophisticated, metabolically active endocrine organ. They are a pharmacy. When you use your muscles, through walking, lifting, even just standing up from a chair, they release powerful little messenger molecules into your bloodstream, called myokines.
Myokines. Like chemical text messages from our muscles.
Exactly like text messages. And these messages travel all over the body, including across the blood-brain barrier. One of the most famous of these myokines is called irisin. When irisin reaches the brain, it stimulates the production of a critical molecule called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists often call BDNF Miracle-Grow for the brain. It helps you grow new neurons, strengthen the connections between them, and is vital for learning, memory, and mood regulation.
Wow. So exercising our muscles is literally fertilizing our brain.
You are fertilizing your brain. Let me tell you about another patient, a lovely woman named Eleanor, 68 years old. She came to me feeling low, complaining of persistent brain fog. She felt like she was moving through a cloud. Her physical strength was declining, but her biggest complaint was her loss of mental clarity. We put her on a simple protocol, strength training twice a week and ensuring each meal hit that leucine threshold. 6 months later, she came back and the first thing she said was, "Doctor, the clouds have parted." She was sharper, her memory was better, and her mood was significantly brighter. She wasn't just stronger physically, she was more resilient mentally. This isn't just an anecdote. A 2022 study in the journal Neurology showed that higher muscle mass in midlife was linked to a significantly lower risk of dementia later on.
This changes the entire motivation for exercise and nutrition. We're not just fighting for our mobility, we're actively fighting to preserve our memories, our clarity, and our joy. The idea that building our biceps can help build our brain is just extraordinary. It makes every effort feel doubly worthwhile. Doctor, this has been one of the most eye-opening conversations we've ever had on Health Voices. We've learned about the thief in the night that breaks down our muscle, and the master switch called mTOR that builds it back up. We've even discovered that our muscles act as a pharmacy for our brain. For everyone watching at home who feels inspired and ready to make a change, could you bring all these incredible pieces of wisdom together into a single daily blueprint? A protocol for strength they can start following today?
I would be delighted to, Sarah. Because knowledge is only powerful when it's put into action. This isn't about a complicated or extreme lifestyle change. It's about aligning your daily habits with your body's own biology. We can call it the Daily Strength Protocol. It's built on 5 simple pillars.
Okay, let's hear them. What is pillar number 1?
Pillar 1. The when. Master your protein timing. This is fundamental. Instead of eating most of your protein at dinner, distribute it evenly. Aim for 3 to 4 protein feedings per day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, of course, add that crucial 4th feeding, your pre-sleep casein snack, like 1 cup of cottage cheese, 30 to 60 minutes before bed to protect your muscles overnight.
Evenly spaced meals with a non-negotiable bedtime snack. Got it. What's pillar 2?
Pillar 2. The what. Hit your leucine threshold. At each of those main meals, your goal is to flip the mTOR switch. That means ensuring you consume at least 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. Remember our examples. A 5-ounce serving of chicken or fish, or that 1 cup of cottage cheese. Make one of these the centerpiece of your plate at every main meal. This is the signal that tells your body to build.
So timing is the when, and leucine is the what. What about the how? That must be pillar 3.
Pillar 3. The how. Engage in smart movement. Your muscles won't grow if you don't give them a reason to. First, resistance training, 2 to 4 times per week. This doesn't mean you have to become a bodybuilder. It can be using resistance bands at home, lifting light weights, or even doing body weight exercises like squats to a chair. The goal is to challenge your muscles. This is the demand signal. Second, daily movement. Aim for 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. This is what keeps that myokine pharmacy open, continuously sending those wonderful text messages to your brain.
A formal challenge a few times a week, and gentle movement every day. That feels very achievable. What are the last two pillars?
Pillar 4. The foundation. Prioritize sleep. The protocol only works if you give your body the time to implement the repairs. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. This is when the growth hormone is released and the muscle-building machinery we've activated gets to work. And finally, Pillar 5. Avoid the saboteurs. Be mindful of things that work against your efforts. Minimize ultra-processed foods, excess sugar, and alcohol, as they can increase inflammation and interfere with muscle synthesis. Don't let a poor diet undo all your good work.
Listening to all of this, Doctor, I'm not filled with a sense of restriction or pressure. I'm filled with an incredible sense of empowerment. It feels like you've handed us a roadmap, a set of keys to take back control from a process we thought was inevitable. It reminds us that it's not about being perfect every single day, but about being intentional.
That is the perfect word, Sarah. Intentional. I want everyone watching to burn this idea into their mind. Aging is inevitable, but physical decay is not. It is a choice. You do not lose muscle simply because you get old. You lose muscle because you stop giving your body the right signals and the right resources to hold on to it. Today, we have given you those signals. We have given you the blueprint for those resources. You don't have to do everything at once. Start with one thing. Just one. Start with the cottage cheese before bed tonight. Master that simple habit. Then, next week, focus on hitting your leucine goal at breakfast. Small, consistent, intentional steps are what build a foundation of strength that will carry you with vitality and independence for decades to come.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. What a powerful and hopeful note to end on. To quickly recap for everyone, the 3 biggest takeaways today have been: 1. Protect your muscles overnight with a slow-digesting protein snack, like cottage cheese, to prevent breakdown. 2. Trigger muscle growth during the day by hitting your leucine threshold of 2.5 to 3 grams at each meal to flip that all-important mTOR switch. And 3. Remember that building your physical strength is one of the most powerful things you can do to protect your brain health, your memory, and your mood. If you found this conversation as enlightening as I did, please show your support by hitting that like button. It truly helps the channel reach more people who need to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Health Voices. We would love to hear your biggest takeaway from today's discussion. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. What is the one small step you plan to take this week? Thank you so much for joining us. And a special thank you to you, Dr. Morgan.
My absolute pleasure.
Thanks for watching, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next one.